Okay, this is about to be the best show ever. And it has nothing to do with me and nothing to do with Jeff Wilson.
Hey.
It's got a lot to do with our guests. We've got the dynamic duo, as we have taken to calling them, and they will join us next on the DLLS Rangers podcast. There they are. How about that dynamic duo? Chris Young, Ross Fenstermaker, the guys who have done such a great job getting this offseason all put together for the Texas Rangers. We, of course, have talked about it all offseason long and pretty much love all the moves that have been made. It's the DLLS Rangers podcast. John Radigan, me, Jeff Wilson, way down at the other end, and Ross Fenstermaker and Chris Young, CY, as he is often called, here to join us. We're so thrilled to have you guys. Chris, thanks so much for helping to orchestrate this.
Yeah, John, thank you guys for having us. We're excited to be here. It's a great studio you guys have, and we're looking forward to visiting with you guys.
Yeah, we look forward to it, too, and I know everybody in our chat loves it, too. And, Ross, we haven't had that many opportunities to chat with you yet, but it's just it has to have been a whirlwind for you taking your position as you have as the general manager of this organization.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I would call it a whirlwind. Obviously, we've been working together for a while. It's been a change, and it's been a great experience so far. And just having the opportunity to work with CY and adjust to this new role, we've got a long-established and great working relationship, and just kind of going through the offseason together and putting this team together and handling our other duties on top of it has just been – it's been a great start to the offseason. Obviously, we're through the offseason at this point, but it's been great, with the change and the role and transition and having the opportunity to work together a lot more closely than maybe we have in the prior years.
I don't want to say it's been a stress-free offseason because I saw you guys at the winter meetings and all that stuff, but it seems like the most stressful thing was the TV deal, and that doesn't really impact you guys as far as finding affiliates and all that stuff, but it just seems like everything kind of came together as good, maybe not as good as you wanted, but really damn well.
Yeah, I think both on the TV side, the media side, and with the team. And, it's been great in spite of the uncertainty related to the media situation that ownership, Ray Davis, has allowed us to operate as though things were going to be able to, we would have a solution at some point. Mm-hmm. And Ray and his team have done a tremendous job of really getting the media deal in place, where I think this is a tremendously exciting opportunity for our fan base, where everybody is going to have access to our games. And I think it's a wonderful thing for our organization. I think it's going to be a fun season. We've got a great team, and it has come together very well, Jeff. So I'm very excited about it. I'm looking forward to it. But now we have to go out to surprise and let the hard work begin.
I don't know, it just seems like you guys touched all the bases. Coaching staff, front office, player development, and players obviously for the major league team. It just, I don't know, it really seemed, I don't want to say easy, but it wasn't stressful on my end. I know that. Yeah. So thank you. Yeah.
Well, no, and really what you just touched on is, I think, one of the things that makes us proud as leaders within the organization is that we are, we feel like we're functioning pretty well, that we have a great team of people. We have a great culture. We rely on each other. We depend on each other. We trust each other. We empower each other. And we don't always agree, and that's healthy. And so I think that we have a very good decision-making process. We have, as I said, just a great organization filled with wonderful people. And to me, that's what this is all about. We have two main goals, which are to, one, win championships, and the second is that we're developing our people constantly. And we've been lucky to have many, many great people who have contributed throughout this offseason and really made our lives and jobs easier.
Good. Okay, so Jeff forgets some of the stress, Ross, and I'm not sure you were there for that. I don't remember which day it was, that Nathan Eovaldi was sort of reintroduced, right? Middle of December at some point, the 12th, the 15th, something like that. We were talking with UCY afterwards, and you said, hey, I want you all to have a great Christmas. And I think it was Jeff that said, oh, so we're not going to see you before Christmas? It's only the 15th or whatever. And you go, oh, well, there may be another chance to, right? You're always working it, Ross, aren't you?
We are. I mean, and that's the nature of the job. Like our goals here are to put the best product possible out on the field and give our guys every opportunity to compete for a championship. And, you know, it's the competitive nature that CY and I share that we're never going to turn it off. We're going to pick up the phone. We're going to explore every opportunity at any point in the off season. Families sometimes not as excited about that when we take those calls and field those calls, but ultimately our goal is to provide our organization with the opportunity to compete deep into the postseason and win championships, and that requires being available at many odd hours throughout the course of 365 days.
Where did that competitive fire for you get fostered? I mean, way back to playing sports as you did, you know, as a younger man?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think a lot of this is innate. I mean, it comes from the way that I was raised in our family. And, you know, I played multiple sports all throughout high school, ended up playing a little bit in college as well. I think it's one of those things that you go back to the early days and everybody would say that I have a ferocious competitive side to me, and I just love and enjoy competing. And, you know, now that I'm, you know, where I'm at in life with my family, this is the way that I channel that. There's not a whole lot I do outside of baseball. I absolutely love the game, and it's my way that I can go about competing, and I'm lucky to work alongside of someone and our group that continues to extract that competitive side out of us or out of me, and yeah, it's been great.
When you've had to navigate a growing family this offseason, that can't be easy.
Yeah, that was another special addition to the Rangers family. Is we had our second daughter, Finley, was born 2 weeks ago, so we've been adjusting to life as a family of four, and it's been great that we did a lot of the heavier lifting, I think, earlier in the off season, so that I've been adjusting to that at home, but can't wait to raise her and Amelia, our other daughter, as lifelong Ranger fans.
Is she a good big sister, Amelia?
She's amazing.
Okay,
She's
good.
been amazing so far.
So the off season, you know, there were a lot of changes on the field, which we're going to talk about in a second. Lots off. The headline probably was bringing Ross up as the general manager, but there have been a lot of others, CY, a lot of other sort of non-between-the-lines changes, including, okay, so you lose, you know, your bench coach, you replace him. You lose a hitting coach, you replace him. I'm wondering, in a coaching staff, and really front office is such a part of that, we talk about chemistry in a team all the time. How much is the chemistry of that portion of the team, right? Front office to the coaching staff. How much is chemistry important there?
Yeah, John, it's critically important. We've, in my 5 years here, we've been pretty fortunate to have a tremendous coaching staff. But I have been throughout my career in places where the staff didn't function in the best manner, and the players feel that. And so we want to make sure, as Boch said, it's one of our core beliefs as well, we are all here to serve our players. And the best way we serve our players is to create an environment for them to succeed. And part of that environment is the chemistry amongst the staff, amongst the front office, that we all have clear standards, expectations, and that we know on a daily basis what our responsibilities are, not only in terms of our job description, our work, but our attitudes and the way we're going to create a positive environment. And the coaches are critically important to that. Chemistry amongst the team, for me, is organic. It has to be the players that kind of come together and form their chemistry. However, it's our job and responsibility to provide the environment around them so that can naturally happen. And that's the beauty of Boch. That's what he does so well, his ability to connect with people, with his staff, and to hold people accountable too, which is a critical part of that. So we are very, very fortunate to have the staff we have. They've all worked tirelessly this offseason. They've all been engaged. And really, to me, it shows how dissatisfied everybody is with the 2024 season and how motivated we all are for 2025.
Yeah. I've talked to old beat writers and TR a lot, and he's written some stuff for us. And like the players, there've been some zany players in Rangers history, and you may have been teammates with some of them, but it seems like all these guys are solid there's only, like Josh Young said, he's like the only one who doesn't have kids. It's crazy, or isn't married with a family. And how big is that component to you? Like solid guys. It seems like that's when you're signing guys in the Dominican, even it seems like that's like an A right at the top of the checklist.
Yeah, and Jeff, it's not like we're looking for a team full of choir boys. I mean, and I say that respectfully. We want good people. But we believe fundamentally an environment is comprised of people that all share similar values and a similar goal. And you have to be committed to that goal. And so I think the commonalities are that we find people and winning players that are about the team. And that they're team oriented, and that's, I think, very applicable to every single one of our players, and that's part of our criteria and selection throughout our organization. And we say all the time, we will sacrifice a little bit of talent for the right people. We still want really, really talented players, but we are looking for the right talent that fits the culture. That's critically important for us.
Yeah, so along those lines, Ross, you came up in this organization through more traditional means than what CY did. Of course, he played and then jumped into it. But so you've been around the scouts so much, and how do you scout then that aspect of a guy? And like, for example, Jock Peterson, right?
Yeah.
He, like, now that we've met him and stuff, and we'll get to know him better at spring training, what a great guy he's going to be in the room. And maybe because he's high profile, it was somewhat easy to scout him. But how do you scout that in a person?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's an imperfect science when you're dealing with evaluating that component of a person or a personality. I think our scouting group just does a tremendous job and spends a ton of time on this. Digging in, going through backgrounds, asking people that are very closely associated with the player, watching the way the player goes about his business on the field, off the field. How they carry themselves, how they navigate, the season and in the off season as well. But really, it's just a lot of question asking and a lot of trying to understand who is this person, what motivates this person, what are their ultimate goals, what are they trying to accomplish, and then, as CY mentioned, we then have to go and evaluate how does that personality and that person going to fit what is currently in place, and how is it going to complement the championship group that we have now, and maybe amplify what we're ultimately trying to accomplish. And that in itself is also challenging, and it has to come together organically, and these guys have to figure that out for themselves. But we do a lot of work on the background to try to figure out who this person is and how they're going to fit this great group that we already have.
The thing that strikes me is it's not just the major league team, it's throughout the organization. The weekly podcast that I do with John Moore, we have these guys who were just drafted, or Sebastian Walcott, who came from the Bahamas. They're just, it's something that very clearly you guys target, and it's very clear. And it's not just something you have to develop when you get to the major leagues. These guys have that foundation of being good kids and understanding what's expected of them right off the top.
Yeah, I think it's throughout the organization in terms of the players that we evaluate and the personalities, and trying to get the right guys in the door. And a lot of that is kind of what we touched on earlier with my competitive streak. It's innate in them, and it's who they are, and our scouts identify that. But then I like to believe that our environment and our development practices help extract the best version of that out of them, and help. Not only are we invested in developing the player on field, but we're also invested in developing the person, whether that's educational curriculum that we have, mental performance, life skills, some of the things that we offer these guys. We hold a leadership camp every January in Arlington, and our goals are to help amplify who they are and extract the best version of themselves over time, and develop them to be winning players for the Texas Rangers and great guys on top of that. So I think we invest a lot into that, but it really starts with the players and the identification process and who they are as a foundation. We're ultimately just trying to steer them towards their best version.
But there's no analytics for that one, right? You can look at numbers, CY, and see if a guy has, ability in some ways. But this is eyeballs.
John, I think one of the things that we always look at are guys that consistently meet or exceed their projections or expectations. And I think when you see guys that live up to that, you start to see commonalities in their personality. And you see traits that identify kind of the winning characteristics. And I think that's something we want. We always want players that are going to overachieve versus under. And, over time, you start to understand. You can use analytics to kind of piece this together a little bit. It is something you have to really ask a lot of questions and do background work to understand the person. But you can look at performance over a period of time and understand there's something that motivates this player to be successful.
We all silly like the mayor.